Hi, I'm Nicole and welcome to episode 13 of the Nicole Stitches podcast. I am a knitter, left-handed crocheter, and general crafter coming to you from Northern Virginia where I work and live with my fiance and our cat, Webster. You can keep up with me on Instagram at NSP Designs, on Pinterest at NSP Designs, on Ravelry as she writes things, and we have a Ravelry group for the podcast, which I will link in the description. And there's also my Etsy shop where I make and sell handmade project bags, notions pouches, and other fiber accessories, as well as original crochet pattern designs. If you are new here, thank you for choosing to watch the video and spend a little time with me. And if you are a return viewer, thank you so much for coming back. This is our 13th episode. I'm a little bit, again, light on the knitting content in a way because I've been very faithful on my current works in progress, as I mentioned in the last video, but I do have a new start to show you, and I'm pretty excited about it, so I'm just going to get started. To start off, I wanted to mention, I've talked about this a bit on previous episodes, but I'm going to be going on vacation soon. We are going on a cruise to Alaska the very first week of September, and on that cruise I will not have access to my phone. Basically, we're not going to have access to internet. It would be very sporadic when we were on land, if at all. So I won't be able to film, edit, and record, obviously, a regular episode that week. But I do want to have something scheduled to go up that week. So my plan is to kind of take the cue from a few other knitting podcasters recently who have done this while on vacation and post a Q&A video. So it will pretty much be an Ask Me Anything. I haven't been around for that long, and I do talk quite a bit about myself. But if there is anything about me that you're curious about, you want to get to know me a little bit better, whether it's personal questions to, reasonable limitations, knitting questions, crafting questions, anything like that, I want to collect those questions, and I will pre-film an episode where I am just answering those questions. It won't have any crafting content in it because it's just a kind of a filler video to tide you over while I'm gone. But I did want to do that to have something to post that week. So if you have questions that you would like answered, anything that you're curious about, you can leave them in the comments of this YouTube video, or you can go to the Ravelry group. I am going to open a thread there for questions, and you can leave your question there. And I will hopefully have a good selection that I can choose from when I film this video. That being said, I am going to just get started on the regular Fiber podcast content. I'm going to open with the Goldfish memory wrap because I have not worked on it at all since last week, but it is a work in progress. I have not abandoned it, so I figured I would show it. Here I am still. I'm pretty sure I haven't worked on it at all since last week. Here it is. If I'm able to finish my Camp Wilkerson wrap before we go on the cruise, then this will become my main work in progress. I don't think that I will be able to finish this before then as well, but it's definitely going to get my focus back. I really miss working on this. I think it's really enjoyable. I'm making this all on Hedgehog Fibres. It's Hedgehog Fibres Rusty Nail, Method, and Urchin, and I really like working on this. I've been itching to work on it the past few days, but I really want to finish my Camp Wilkerson first. So again, I haven't really done anything on it since the last time I showed it to you, but I just wanted to share it and show off, I guess. So next up is my Camp Wilkerson wrap. Here's my project bag with my pins, as always, and I have made a great deal of progress on this, I am very pleased to say. Last week I had kind of just gotten really into a groove in the middle red section. This wrap, if I can remember to insert a picture, I will, but it's very much kind of color blocked. You start with one color, then you do a big strip of another, then you do some stripes, and then there's a big middle section that is eyelets in another contrast color. So last time I showed this, I had just kind of gotten a few rows into the red section, which is my eyelet section, and since then I have finished my eyelet section. So here we go. Here's where we are so far. Here's the bottom, my stripes, and a big eyelet section, and then back into the stripes. Now this is meant to be, this is a pattern by Boyland Knitworks, Caitlin Hunter, and this is meant to be a DK weight wrap, but I wanted to work from stash, and I did not have enough DK in my stash that all went together and I liked to do this pattern, so I'm working it up in fingering weight yarn. I will keep extensive notes on my Ravelry project page for this wrap when I'm finished. I haven't updated my project page in a bit. I'm actually not even positive that I started one yet, but I will absolutely make one. I make one for all my projects eventually, and I will try to add photos, and I will do things like, I'll tell you, because this is fingering that I'm adapting, I'll do things like tell you my measurements for this section, like in inches. I'll tell you my measurements for this, and how many garter rows I did, and I'll tell you my measurement for the red section. When I first, my colors, as you probably know, are the gray is MadTosh Tern, the yellow is KnitPicks Hawthorne Kettle-Dyed in Compass, the white is shade 110 from Blue Sky Fibres, it is a silk alpaca blend, and the red is MadTosh Pendleton Red. So, there's a progress keeper on. This progress keeper indicates nothing. I stuck it on there at one point and said, I'm gonna knit 6 more inches of the eyelet repeat from this point, and then I got maybe 3 inches from there, and I was like, you know what? No, that's enough. I decided I was done. I will admit, I talked about this a little bit in my last video, but the eyelet section was not the most exciting for me. I found it kind of tedious, the actual eyelet row, because I couldn't really, I had a hard time getting a handle on the pattern repeat, and it just wasn't super fun, so I was definitely like kind of happy to get out of it. And now I am cruising through some garter and stockinette, and that's the only kind of stuff I have to do for the rest of the wrap. So from here, I will need to do 4 more white stripes and some more gray stripes. I will do another panel of yellow, and then I'll be done. And I'm pretty pleased. I got a lot of work done on this. I think this is pretty much, this is the only knitting project I've worked on since I last recorded. So I've really been able to get a lot put in, really crank through it, and I'm hoping that next week when I record, this will be done. At least, if not blocked, done. Yeah, I'm hoping. I have plans for the weekend, but I may, in those plans, have time to sit down and knit for a while. So we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic that I'll have it done by next time. We'll have to see. But anyway, here it is. I do really enjoy it. It is nice, and other than the eyelets being a little bit of trouble when I first started out, it is nice and kind of meditative because it's just garter and stockinette, and I really enjoyed it, and it's my favorite colors. So, yes, I'm very pleased with it. Yeah, that's my knitting project. I'll show you my remaining cake. When I first started, I talked about. I think I was starting to talk about this and I totally interrupted myself. That sounds about right for me. But when I first started this, I was talking about how because I was working from stash and having a lot of little random bits of yarn lying around my dwelling stresses me out. I wanted to try and use up my entire cake of MadTosh Pendleton Red in the middle section. That didn't happen. Again, I was kind of like over the eyelets by the end, and I thought it was a good enough length that I was okay stopping, but I did recake. I actually recaked all of my skeins because I don't know what was happening inside my project bag, but they were getting messy, and it was stressing me out, so I was just having a lot of like tangles, and I couldn't find my ends, and it was just a mess. So I recaked them all, and this is what I have left of my MadTosh Pendleton Red. So compared to the size of the skein, the cake, when I first started, I did use up a good bit. And there is enough here. I didn't weigh it. I know that that's like a thing for some knitters. They have like their little kitchen scale and they'll weigh how much yarn they have left. I don't do that, but there's enough left here that it could definitely go in another project. Probably another project with stripes or a contrasting band, maybe some mild color work, light color work. It would depend. But point is, this having this around doesn't really bother me as much as having like a little random ball around would bother me. yeah, so I don't mind that I didn't use this whole thing up. I'm pleased with how my wrap looks, and now I get to have, you know, this for another project with fun contrasting stripes or something like that in the future. So that's my remaining cake of Pendleton Red. I will show you when I finish, I'll show you my remaining cakes on the other colors as well. And that is it for my Camp Wilkerson wrap this week, and that is all the knitting I have to show you. Because I now do believe I will finish this in time for vacation, and I'm going to work on my Goldfish memory wrap, I do believe that I will be starting another project soon. I have lots and lots of shawl patterns in my library to choose from. It is also Amba O'Brien. She is the designer of my Asana wrap, which I knit earlier this year. If you've been keeping up with me, you know all about it, but it is Knit August for her, which means that every single day in August, she sells one of her patterns on Ravelry for 50% off, which is amazing. Her patterns are so great. Her instructions are really good. Her patterns are really, really nice. There's a ton of them to choose from, and if you don't keep up with her in Knit August, you really should, because that's a great way to snag some awesome patterns for $3 on average. I don't think any of her patterns at 50, I think the half off makes all the patterns $3. All the ones that I've grabbed so far have been $3. I think her patterns are usually around $6-7 regular price. So yes, but my point is I have tons of Amba O'Brien patterns stashed in my library, as well as many, many others from many people. Yarn Cafe Creations, Christy just released the Rhinebeck is my favorite season shawl, I think is what it's called, and of course I grabbed that. And I have a bunch more just waiting in my my pattern binders for me to choose them. So I'm probably going to start another one of those very soon to have just a couple different things on the go on the trip that I can kind of choose from. Maybe one in my suitcase, one in my carry-on, we'll see. But yes, that is all my knitting content, but I have other works in progress and I have a new start. So don't get too alarmed. On the embroidery needlepoint front, I didn't show this last week because I did not have any progress, but this week I do. This is my Pinup Girl project bag. You can see my pins. And I hope you can see my pins. Let me see if I can hold it closer. Some pretty good pins. And in this project bag, if you were keeping up with me, you know, is an embroidery project. I started this just as a little for me practice project. I am getting married next year, and I intend to embroider my bridesmaid gifts, and my embroidery skills are a little bit rusty, so I wanted to practice so that the gifts I give them are actually nice. So this is just a trial for myself, and I have made some progress now. So I've done this. I just freehanded some little florals here and a vine, and I have filled in a lot of the florals I still need to do, the centers of these flowers, and some more French knots in here. And then I picked a little phrase to embroider up here so that I could practice stitching lettering. And it says, "Not today, Satan," which is how I feel a lot of days. And I'm really enjoying it. My stitching on the lettering is I'm not proudest of it, but I can actually follow as I go along from letter to letter and see myself improving. I might try and do maybe one other practice piece before I start in on my actual gifts, and try different lettering techniques just to see what I think looks really nice and what I'm really good at kind of mastering, because I want the things that I make for my bridesmaids obviously to be really nice and something that looks good and that they'll really love and appreciate. They'd love and appreciate it if it looked like garbage, but I want it to be something that I love and I feel I'm very proud of. So this is my embroidery progress. I'll move my needle minder so you can see it a little better maybe. And I'm pretty pleased with it. This I'm actually going to sew into a little pouch for myself. I may use it as a notions pouch. I may use it for makeup, not sure yet, but that's what this will end up being. So when I do that, I will definitely share it with you. And with that work in progress, I also have a new start. I've made reference to this previously on the podcast. It has been a little bit, but I know many babies being born this year. 3 so far, I think, and 2 of them were just recently born. They were little twin girls, and they are the cutest things in the world. And my best friend and my best friend Rachel, whom I talk about constantly, I feel like every episode lately I'm talking about her, but they are her nieces, and so she and I decided to kind of buddy cross-stitch a little baby project for each of them. So we're using the same pattern and the exact same materials. We made sure we both went to our own craft stores at the same time and made sure we used the same color cross-stitch fabric and the same floss colors and everything, so that it's identical. But we are stitching a pattern by Satsuma Street, who is one of my favorite cross-stitch pattern designers, and the pattern is called Pretty Little Baby. And you're gonna be so impressed with what I have done so far. It's truly amazing. It is a very sweet pattern. It's just a little series of structures and buildings. It looks very much like It's a Small World ride at Disney, the waiting area with like the clock tower and all the little buildings. Fun fact, that is one of my absolute favorite Disney rides, but it basically looks like that, but a little more colorful with pastels, and then you embroider the name at the bottom. So because they are twin girls, Rachel took one and I took the other. So I will be updating you my progress on this. I really like working on this. I've had some hand soreness recently, I think because I've been knitting so much, and I actually think that it was that darned eyelet section on my Camp Wilkerson that was doing it to me. I find working decreases sometimes can be a little bit painful for my hands, especially on the narrower needles. I kind of have to finagle the way I hold them a little bit, and it was making my hands and wrists hurt a bit. And this cross-stitch project has been a great break for my hands and wrists. So if I am knitting on my Camp Wilkerson wrap and I start to feel the ache but I still want to keep crafting, I've turned to this and it's been perfect. I can still be making and I don't have to sit there and get antsy with my hands doing nothing while I'm watching TV or anything, and I'm getting something done but I'm not knitting. And by the time I feel like I'm good stitching on this for the day, my hands are ready to knit again. This project bag is a prototype for my shop from when I was trying to decide how I wanted to construct my large project bags, which are my kind of sweater-sized bags. They're what I've been using all along. Here's one that is actually in my shop right now. They're what I've been using all along when you've seen me work on sweater projects. They're drawstring, they're very big, and I did a lot of experimenting with them because I was finding a couple things were a little bit finicky, and I couldn't quite decide how I wanted to construct my drawstring situation and everything, so this was an experiment. It was not a failure, I just decided that I wanted to do something else instead, and this was kind of just lying around my shop. I couldn't decide if I should list it or give it away or what, and I needed a project bag that was big enough to hold my hoop for this project, so it's mine now. I kept it, and that's okay. But that is where this project is sitting. And that is all my crafting progress for this week. In terms of other stuff, I mentioned already that I am seeking questions for a Q&A, so please feel free to leave them down below or go leave them in the Ravelry group. I will round them up and try to put together a Q&A video for you. The only other thing is that as we approach the end of the month of August, it is getting to be time for the first pattern giveaway. I talked about this in a previous episode, but in order to support designers I like on Ravelry and give back to the people who are sticking with the podcast, I want to hold a monthly giveaway in which I give to a selected viewer a copy of a pattern for one of the projects I've worked on in the month. This will be the first one, so you're going to be able to choose any pattern that I've worked on at all from the whole life of the podcast. I did want to add that because I have worked on 2 different cross-stitch patterns in the span of the podcast, and cross-stitch is not available on Ravelry, you may also choose one of those patterns, and I will send you a copy of the PDF from Etsy, but you will need to have a valid email address that you are comfortable giving to me if that is your choice as the winner. I'll talk more about like the giveaway rules and stuff in the actual episode where I do the giveaway, which will be 2 episodes from now. It will be on August, the episode that comes out on or around August 30th or 31st. That will be the episode where I actually announce who is the winner of the giveaway and etc. So next week is when I will ask for people to enter the giveaway, and then the week after that I will tell you who won. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that it is coming. So if you've been like a casual viewer but you're interested in the giveaway and you're not subscribed to me, I would recommend subscribing so that you don't miss it and you have a chance to win. And joining the Ravelry group will also be a great place to participate in the giveaway, because I'm not quite sure yet if I'm going to try and run it there or if I'm going to try and run it here or both. I'm just not sure. So for safety, I would say subscribe to the channel and join the Ravelry group. doesn't cost you anything, and I promise not to be too annoying. In terms of other life stuff, as I mentioned, we have some plans for the weekend. Every year, a bunch of friends, including myself and my fiance, spend a weekend together at our friend's house, and we just play video games 24/7 and swim in the pool, and sometimes we play board or card games. Basically, the point for the weekend is just to be all together and stay up really late, play a bunch of games, eat bad food, swim in the pool, and have a lot of fun. So that is exciting. We are very much looking forward to it. That will be our weekend. We head up late tomorrow after work, and then we'll be there through Sunday. And I'm very excited about this one. I know I've done a little bit of like passive complaining on here and in some other places about how much I have to go back and forth between here and Maryland, but this one I'm pretty pleased about. I have some shop news as well. I have listed a new pre-order. I've talked about this previously, but just to reiterate, pre-orders are something that I do once in a while, maybe once a month. I've done them a little more frequently recently just because I'm excited about the fabrics I find, but basically what I do is I put up a pre-order listing in my Etsy shop where you can choose from any size bag that I regularly offer, and you can get it in a fabric that is not regularly available in my shop at all. I don't offer it in my shop before the listing goes up, and I never offer it again afterward. So I've listed another one, and this time it's actually for 2 different fabrics on the same theme, and this is called my Pumpkin Spice pre-order. I will insert pictures of the fabric choices here. So in the Etsy listing, you can choose the bag size that you want, and you can also choose the print that you want. You can choose either an iced PSL or iced fall-themed coffee or a hot fall-themed drink. I personally am a hot coffee drinker myself, though I do love me a good iced tea, but you have both those options to choose from. You can get a small, medium, or large bag, or in the pre-orders only, this is only something I do for my pre-orders, I also offer a book and bag bundle, which is where you can get a medium-sized project bag, which is kind of the typical bag size that I use. It's what I've been using for my Goldfish memory and my Camp Wilkerson wraps, and a hook book, which is a crochet hook or knitting needle case that I make. You can get those bundled together for a discounted price. So I just wanted to mention that. Pre-orders are only available up until early next week. If I remember, I'll write the date on screen, the exact date when I take them down. But I wanted to make y'all aware. People are actually very excited about this one, which makes me really happy. I just wanted to make it available. I know fall is coming upon us, and many people are kind of craving it. The pumpkin things are starting to roll out. People are starting to get that fall fever, and I wanted to do something to celebrate for those people. So that's that. That's my shop news. And that's pretty much everything. I think this episode is shorter this week, but I guess that's not a problem. I will try to have some more exciting content next week. Hopefully I'll have a finished object to show you, progress on my Goldfish memory, progress on my cross stitch, and maybe a new knitting or crochet start, if I'm lucky, if I'm able to get everything done that I'm hoping to get done. Again, if you were a new viewer, thank you so much for stopping by and spending some time with me. If you are a return viewer, thank you for coming back. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you get lots of knitting, crochet, cross stitch, or whatever kind of crafting you do done this week, and I will see you next time. Bye!